Hi guys, so I wanted to make a video explaining my last video, which I told my parents I was pregnant, and in the description it says how we had tried for 9 years, and so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So I have 2 children already. My daughter Celeste is 13 and my son Landon is 9. I never had fertility problems with those 2 pregnancies. I got pregnant fine without any help or anything. So when my son Landon was 6 months old, we wanted to try for another baby. It never happened. He's 9 now. So we tried, in between then, we've tried 3 cycles of Clomid, and we did it 3 cycles in a row. So we did 3 cycles, took 3 months off, did 3 cycles, took 3 months off, and then did 3 cycles. And none of those cycles produced a baby at all. It is probably not something I would ever do again. All I did was cried the whole time. I was mean and mad at everything, and I just felt terrible for my husband. It was terrible. At least for me. I know for some people it's bad, and for some women it isn't. But it's just not something I would do again. At the time, and even still to today, that was the only infertility treatment we could afford. We did see an infertility specialist, and everything went well with that. They told me I had PCOS and endometriosis, sorry. And it was just a slight form of endometriosis. It wasn't severe. But I did have a lot of cysts in my ovaries. Like I said, I never had a regular period. But after my son, I would probably have one every 8 to 9 months I had a period. And I took Provera for roughly 4 years. And I still only had a period every couple months. Still didn't ovulate. And then eventually that was just my diagnosis, was that I just didn't ovulate. So that went on for years and years and years, and we couldn't afford IVF. We are a 1-income family. My husband works, and it wasn't an option. Our insurance doesn't cover it, and what it did cover was very, very minimum, and so it just wasn't an option for us. So that went on for 8.5 years or so. And then last year, my daughter had her appendix ruptured and she got sepsis. She went into septic shock, and it was like the scariest thing in the world. And I was in nursing school, so I kind of knew what was going on with her. And so she spent 12 days in the ICU. And it's even harder when you know like what these things are and what can happen. And so it was very hard. She was 12, and then when she came home, she got her menstrual cycle the day after she came home from the hospital. And then I got mine. And then every month since last September. Hold on, wait. Yeah, September. Ever since she got hers, then I had mine. Every month she had hers, I had mine. And in January, January was a break between school, and it was a very hard month. My grandfather came home on hospice, and he passed January 15th, and my aunt also came home on hospice, and she passed later that month in January. And in that time, I hadn't realized that I didn't have a period. But that's normal for me. Not having one is normal, so I never thought anything of it. And not very often do I tell my husband I need to buy a pregnancy test, because my doctor had told me that I have a less than 5% chance of ever getting pregnant again, of ever having a baby. And I also had precancerous cells in my on my uterus and cervix. So that was something that I was getting ultrasounds for every 6 months, and just so that my doctor could watch to make sure that they don't turn into cancer cells. So I went to my regular, backtrack a little bit. So we were at home, and I was doing the dishes, and I got like a awful smell. No, I didn't. I was brushing my teeth. I was brushing my teeth in the kitchen at the sink, and I started gagging. My husband's walking in the door. It's time from work, and I said, we have to buy a pregnancy test. And he was like, are you sure? You know, he's skeptical because he knows what our odds are. And I said, yeah, we need to buy a pregnancy test. So this was a Friday. No. Yeah, it was Friday. So we were taking my daughter to her dad's, and we stopped and got a pregnancy test. When we got home, I took the test, and the test line was lighter than the control line, but it was still a dark line. Like, there was 2 dark lines. So I'm kind of freaking out a little bit, and I'm crying, and he's just like, let's wait till tomorrow and take another one. So I woke up the next morning, took another one, and the same thing happened. So he was like, all right, I'm going to go to work. This was Saturday. He said, I'm going to work, and I will stop and pick up a digital. We have a Rimke here, and their digitals, their brand digitals, are a lot less than like a Clear Blue or First Response. So that's what he got. And I took it, and when he got home from work, and I told him, I said, I don't know how much more positive it could get. And it said pregnant. So we were both very, very, very shocked. I called the doctor on Monday, and he got me in on Tuesday. And in between that time is when I'm showing my parents the pregnancy stuff. Well, I got them Valentine's Day stuff because it was Valentine's Day weekend. And then I got a little outfit that says I'm kind of a big deal. And so that's what I showed them. And my mom, I thought she would fall out of the chair. But my dad's cousin and her husband was there. And that's who else is in the background of the video. But they were also very surprised because everyone knows, that, we weren't supposed, this wasn't something that, I can't say that we weren't supposed to have, because obviously with God's grace, He's going to, put in your arms what is supposed to be for you. But I never thought that I would ever get pregnant again. And even I'm 15 weeks and 2 days today, and I am still shocked beyond belief. I'm so I'm so shocked. But it has been the worst pregnancy yet. I don't know if it's because I'm older. When I had my son, I was 22 and I'm now 31. So I don't know if it's because I'm older or what it is, but I've never been sick up until 15 weeks with my other two. With my daughter, I didn't even know that I was pregnant until I was almost 6 months. I didn't show, I wasn't sick. I didn't have anything going on. With my son, I found out 7 weeks, and I was only sick with him when I brushed my teeth or I smelled something really gross. But otherwise, it was a great pregnancy, except that he was 10 pounds for 5 ounces, 21 inches long, and I was a lot smaller then, but he was a big baby. So I'm hoping that this baby is a lot smaller. But I've never been this sick. I've never had the pain that I have with this baby. But my doctor told me that that's because I had cysts on my ovaries. And so I had a lot of pain in my ovaries when, even sometimes still now when I get up, I have pain. But for the most part, it's subsided. But yeah, that's pretty much it for what I've done. I mean, like I said, we never had a lot of money to do IVF or like trigger shots or anything like that. So we've done the bare minimum. We did what we could afford. And so we are still surprised. I will be 20 weeks on my 32nd birthday, May 11th, and I can't believe that is just like 5 weeks away, and I will be halfway through this pregnancy. It's like starting all over again because our kids are big. We live in Ohio, so they're big enough to do stuff like go to Kings Island and ride the roller coasters, and which they did do last summer, and stuff like that. So I'm very, very still shocked that there's such a large gap between my kids. I actually started school as a stay-at-home mom from the time my daughter was little until now. I did go back to school. I went to nursing school, and I told my husband, I said after 30, not that I wouldn't be happy to have more kids, but I feel like our kids are old enough to go out and do things with us, and you know, we could travel a little bit more because we have family that live in like Florida and stuff, and there's a lot of things to do there, and now it's like we're starting all over again. We have absolutely no baby things, nothing for a baby. I mean, it's like starting your life over again. But sorry, I'm just ranting now. So I'm going to go, and I hope you guys like my story. I mean, if you're going through something like this, just believe that it could happen. There was a point in time where my husband and I both were like, all right, this just isn't going to happen. We're not going to try anymore. We're not going to try, but we're not going to prevent. We're just going to live our lives. And then it happened. So, yeah. Well, I'm going to end this here. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope maybe this gives you guys a little bit of hope. Thanks. Bye.